busy, busy day. This is going to be a pretty active broadcast today. We already have a tornado warning that has been issued, and that is over in areas of Arkansas. We're looking at this live radar right now, and some of the areas that could be impacted by this is Kibler, right on top of you right now, Alma, Dyer, Mulberry, Ozark, Whitaker Village. These are areas in Arkansas. They are making their way. These storms, again, radar indicated, and actually, I believe this one is observed. Let's verify. Yes, this is an observed tornado. It was issued at 7:54 a.m., and this does not expire until 8:30 a.m. Central Daylight Time. Hail size about 3/4 inch. But the main thing is it's moving on eastward. We do have this velocity on. Yeah, this is an observed. There's two of them now. Let's go ahead and update this information here. Make sure we have the numbers. Yeah, they're right on top of each other. Basically, they're extending this one here, Tufts weather. The one on the back side, you can certainly see that if we put this into
A new
motion here.
tornado warning has been
There's that
issued.
tornado warning there as well. So that's two of them. They're back to back, and you definitely can see some rotation that has happened over the course of the last few frames here. Bring this back here and look at those frames. It was much stronger right here. I've seen it a little bit, Tufts weather. It was pretty significant, like a mile wide is what I heard. Pretty, pretty crazy. All right, so we do have this dangerous storm. Again, folks that are in Mulberry, please make sure that you're in your safe spot. This is in Arkansas. Shut that off for a second here. Today I am using WSV3. It's application that's only accessible through Windows. This is too large of a file, too large of an app to be able to utilize on a phone. You would need a Windows device to be able to use this. All right, so these are some areas that are expecting impact. Again, Kibler, it's a couple of minutes past. So Alma, it's right on top of you. Dyer, got a couple of minutes, but I would say get in your safe place. Mulberry, Ozark, these are all in Arkansas. Appreciate you all joining. If you have not, please be sure to do a solid and follow. All right, we're going to take a look at some of these other southern storms. Is this including Springdale? That's one question. Tammy, I do not see that it shows that it's including Springdale area. At least it's not showing up here. I don't know of any chasers that are following this right now, no. Oh, you're talking about way up here. So Springdale is up here, and you guys, unfortunately, you're under the gun here today, Springdale, Arkansas area. You had some storms pass through there. So these storms here are severe thunderstorm, not a tornado warning right now. Hinsville, Huntsville, Berryville, Green Forest, those areas are continuing to expect some severe weather. It'll slowly die out. Areas point eastward before it ramps up a little bit later today. Arkansas, Prairie Grove. Not sure exactly where Prairie Grove is. Sorry, not going to lie. It's a little tough to find that one. So we do have, again, this southern part of Arkansas. Let me go ahead and pull up the risks right now and I'll show you that. Let's take a look at the live. This is the radar right now. Pretty pretty intense storms to say the least. Again, we have this one here that's moving in an easterly direction right along I-40. Expect that to impact Mulberry. You're in that tornado warning area, and even Ozark if this holds together. And I don't suspect that it's going to die out anytime soon. Um, Clarksville is a long ways from there, but you still could end up having some pretty impactful winds as you get into that area of Clarksville, Arkansas. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the risks that we have for today so we can kind of show that. I'm not going to show the weather models on here right now because we do have that active severe weather. But let's go ahead and take a look at, I'm going to shut the radar that we have off right now just for the time being. All right, so that way you guys could kind of see where the risks are. This is
A new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued.
all right, this is the risk that we have for tornadoes. That's mainly over in the New Mexico, Texas area, and then the Oklahoma Panhandle, southwestern part of Arkansas, or southwestern part of Kansas, and even extreme eastern portions of Colorado. You can see it just to the left of that severe thunderstorm warning ticker there. Over by Lamar, Pueblo, Colorado Springs area, that's where we do have that risk. See, that brown section is where we do have that higher risk for tornado activity for today. We do have an active tornado warning, so we are going to wait until we have those warnings disappear and they become less intense before we go any other radar estimates right now. We're just going to go over some of the risks that we have here for today. Timing we'll have to get to in a little bit. Here's the risks overall. Enhanced risk is over by Lamar, Garden City, Liberal, these would be Kansas areas. Garden City, Ulysses, Liberal area would be Kansas. And then Lamar, all the way back over to La Uinta, Colorado. And then as you can see, that's the enhanced risk, this brownish orange, if you will. And then Hereford, Tulia, Plainview, Littlefield, Lubbock, Brownfield, you're in the enhanced risk for today for severe weather. That would be a 3 out of 5. The yellow shaded area, that's a 2 out of 5. So a large area, expect these storms later this afternoon to redevelop. You got severe weather going on right now into areas of Arkansas. Again, this storm here is got over by Alma, expecting that to impact areas of Ozark, Arkansas. Ozark, you need to get into your safe place if you're not there already. Thanks again for sharing. Appreciate it. The hail risk for today, again, that is pretty significant as well as we have a large yellow zone uh, of hail. The brown is still hail as well, but not as significant as the yellow and the red. This is a 30% hatched area, or not a 30% hatch, but a moderate risk for the hail over in Plainview, Lubbock, Brownfield, Lamar, Ulysses, Liberal, all those areas there. All right, let's go back to live radar. I don't want to spend too much time on on those risk levels right now because we do have this active tornado warning. Again, very dangerous storm here. Tornado warning right here. This was observed. That expires in another 10, 11 minutes here. It's right over areas of Rudy, Alma, Kibler. These in Arkansas. Storm motion on this. We've got Kibler, it was over that top of there. Dyer, Mulberry, Ozark, Weederker Village. Weederker Village, you got a little bit of time, but still, very dangerous storm. Little Rock. You do have these storms making their way over there. Right now, you're not under a severe thunderstorm watch, but I do expect storms to ramp up later this afternoon for areas of Little Rock. So stay weather aware, Veronica. And
A new tornado warning has
so
been issued.
more than likely they're just extending this. So let's take a look and verify here. 1 second. Yep. So this is until 8:30. See if this has gotten updated here. 1 second. Yep. So this is an extension basically. This is still Ozark area, Whitaker Village. Let me go ahead and put the velocity on here. Yes, Vonnie, this weather is headed towards Tennessee. However, your risk for tornado in Tennessee area is not as significant. It is still possible. Could have some embedded tornadoes later this afternoon into the evening hours in some parts of Tennessee, but just stay weather aware if you're in Tennessee, even areas of Alabama. All this is moving eastward. We'll put that into motion here for you. And let's go ahead and take a look at that base. Let's go ahead and look at the base velocity here to see the intensity of this. Goodness gracious. You can see that right here down by Kibler area. Some of these, the mixing going on. You can see as it gets pretty intense right over Kibler. All right, St. Louis. Do we have a timing for middle of Tennessee? I could certainly take a look at that. I'm not going to show you on here because I want to keep this tornado warning up right now. This is a very impactful storm. So let me go ahead and pull that back through here 1 second. All right, again, I'm going to keep those times up there, but I'll get you the timing here for estimates. Again, we do have a tornado, two tornado warnings. These are both in Arkansas. The tornado warning, one of them includes areas that are in the path would be Jethro, Cass, Dyer, Redding, Piney, Turner's Bend, Cecil, Ozark, Paradise, Alma, Mulberry, Barnes, Watalua, Tony, Whitaker Village, Lone, Lone LM, Cravens, Altus. This includes,
A new tornado warning has been issued.
this does include areas of Interstate 40 in Arkansas between mile markers 13 and 42. So this is including Crawford County. Let's see what we got this one here. Okay, and this one here, again, pretty intense. You can see that. What are my qualifications? I've never once said that I'm a meteorologist, and I will never say that I'm a meteorologist. I'm just giving the information as it comes through from the National Weather Service. So, Fayetteville, Arkansas. No, I don't use Google. I utilize weather.gov, SPC, official sites, and then obviously I do utilize WSV3 app that has everything integrated with National Weather Service warnings. Okay, Fayetteville. Let's go ahead and take a look at Fayetteville. Most of that weather has moved off to the east, Fayetteville area. This does not look near as intense as it once did because it's moved eastward. So, Huntsville, you have a severe thunderstorm warning right now. Again, some areas that could be impacted by 60-mile-an-hour winds and three-quarter-inch hail would be Huntsville right around 812, Berryville around 822, Green Forest 836. Okay, storm motion. Uh, this is all moving off to the east. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one up here. This one's moving more of a northeasterly track, which is quite strange, but based on this would be Aurora. It's already passed there. Crane, past there. Billings, Cleaver, Republic, Battlefield, and Willard. These are all areas in the southern portion of Missouri. Thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate it. St. Louis area. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. St. Louis area, we're not expecting anything real significant, I believe. Let's take a look here, though, just to confirm. Yeah, St. Louis, you're in the general thunderstorms for today. St. Louis, Missouri, if you're referring to that. So marginally severe hail, which would be like pea size, could possibly happen over there, but that's only if this kind of pushes up that far. So not anything real huge expected there. Living Rogers was intense this morning. Yeah, it has been a crazy, crazy 24 hours over many, many areas. All right, let's verify that we have this tornado warning down here still going. All right, looks like Mulberry area. It's not picking up on all of the cities that are impacted with this. So uh, some of the areas are smaller populations for some reason. It's not picking that up. All right, let's go ahead and take a look. But again, this, if we take a look at the echo tops on this, 33, 41. This isn't doing that great of a job. It looks like it's pretty isolated. So it looks like it's starting to lose some of its luster. Although if you take a look at this, still pretty intense right in here. So this shows you the outgoing and the incoming. So the differences in the wind direction. That shows you the rotation. Quite intense. All right, let's go ahead and bring back the live radar here and show you where that is. Again, areas that are going to be impacted by this is right on top of the Ozark area. Weederkerville Village. And again, these areas, it's going to mainly be over rural areas once it gets past Ozark. It's going to maybe hit the northern tip of Coal Hill. All right, there's no such thing as climate change. I'm not even going to go there with that. All right, Missouri. Let's go ahead and take a look at Missouri again. Again, Missouri, you guys are expecting uh, the southern portion of Missouri. You're in that risk for 2 out of 5 today. Gonna expect some redevelopment, but as far as your risk for tornado activity for Missouri, we're not. It's 2% risk, but the more significant risk is more so over into southwestern portion of Kansas and parts of Texas as well as Colorado. So the green zone here is where that tornado risk is. Again, not expecting anything real significant to come out of southern portion of Missouri this morning. However, later on there could be some storms this afternoon that redevelop over these areas. Yeah, Lubbock, Texas. If you're in Lubbock, Texas, you definitely want to stay weather aware. Lots and lots of big boy hail, as they call it, and a lot of numerous tornadoes are expected later this afternoon. All right. Was there a tornado in Missouri this morning? I can't confirm that on this, and I'm not going to say for sure. I could I can do a search on some history. See if I actually have storm reports here. See if those are loading.
A new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued.
All right, we have been able to allow the one tornado warning that was over by the Fort Smith area and Van Buren area
A new tornado warning has been issued.
to expire. And so, please, I apologize. That's likely the one that is been allowed to expire. So I apologize for that. So we just have the one tornado warning right now, and we are expecting that to continue to lose uh, some of its luster, I guess is one word to put it. But I don't see anything. It looks like here's the tornado reports. Hang on one second here, see if I can get this to work. So there was, um, at least according to this, Cassville, Missouri area.
A new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued.
Okay, Cassville area of Missouri. There was some reports of some significant wind that happened over there. That was Berry County, Missouri. Reports of power poles across the roadway, time based on radar. So I would imagine the National Weather Service probably going to reassess that to see if that was a tornado. I mean, power poles across the roadway, that's pretty significant. Um, so whether it ends up being a straight line wind event or a tornado remains to be seen until they can assess the damage. Pennsylvania, you have a tornado warning in Carmi, Illinois. Interesting. Let's take a look at that. Let's verify that. Nope, you don't. You have a severe thunderstorm warning in areas of Illinois. So let's just make sure that we're being aware. Severe thunderstorm warnings are not tornado warnings. Severe thunderstorm warning in areas of Illinois. Okay, this is from 7:43 until 8:30 a.m. Central Daylight Time. Max hail size is pretty significant, but right now it is not showing anything related to a tornado warning. Let's see if we can put the radar on for this. Just show you the information here. One second. Waiting for that to load. Apologize, it's a little bit delayed here. For some reason, it's not loading my radar way up here. Why is that? Let's see what's going on here. Might be that it's having a little bit of a tough time loading everything. It is a very large app, that I will say. by St. Louis, and it's not picking it up. Here, let's see if that's got it. All right, guys. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to need to stay with WSV3 at this point because this is really having a struggle as well. I'm going to shut this off and I'm going to go to the surface based here. 1 second. There we go. All right, so this is the storm activity over by Fairfield, Illinois. This runs a little bit smoother here. I don't have all the bells and whistles that I can look at, but it does look like it's still going to stay as a severe thunderstorm warning. I don't see anything indicating that it's going to be intensifying to a tornado warning. All right, Jackson, Tennessee. Areas of Tennessee are in a 2% risk for tornado activity here later today. We are expecting that from Murfreesboro all the way back over to Dyersburg and Memphis, Tennessee area. Again, all these storms are making their way eastward. And if development can happen this afternoon, all modes of severe weather are possible, even in areas of Tennessee. Let's go ahead and bring up the National Weather Service outlook for categorical outlook. We have that whole yellow zone in the 2 out of 5 risk for today. And then back here, we do have areas of Colorado, southwestern part of Kansas, as well as Texas in the Lubbock areas.
A new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued.
We do have those areas in the enhanced risk. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, your area is expecting more significant weather for tomorrow. If we look at that, this all shifts eastward. So you'll be in a 2 out of 5 risk for a categorical outlook. And then the tornado risk is less than 2% for areas of um, South Carolina for tomorrow. Your hail risk is going to be there for tomorrow. All right, let's take a look here. Cape Girardeau. You guys have a risk today, that Cape Girardeau area. You guys have the risk for areas this afternoon. And you do see a few thunderstorms that have already moved through your area this morning. Um, I could take a look at the timing here. Since we no longer have, it looks like we no longer have tornado warnings. Let's verify that on radar, make sure my ticker is working properly. Okay, so those have died out. All right, folks, I am able to now get to, since the tornado warnings are done, I'm going to go ahead and shut off the live radar real quick. And I'm going to go to the weather models here and show you the timing. Let's try to see if we can get that figured out here. 1 second. Shut that off. And let's go ahead and take a look at the convective outlooks. I'm going to shut off the storm reports here as well. Shut these off. All right, we're going to shut all that off so we can kind of show you the weather models of what is expected here. We're going to take a look at NAM3K so we can go a little farther out than we typically do. And these are going to be radar estimates of what is expected. Let me put that up there. All right, so these are radar estimates of what is expected today, the timing of all of that. I'm going to load that. We've got 60 hours of this to go through. So I appreciate you sharing, and I appreciate you following. Appreciate that so much. Let's go ahead and take a look. At the timing, now that we don't have any tornado warnings going on, I'm going to take a look at the timing based on weather models here. So bear with me. Again, you're looking at the live information for the from the Storm Prediction Center. This yellow zone, that is the slight risk, 2 out of 5. Enhanced zone would be Lamar, Garden City, Ulysses. All right, and then we have the time up here. Time just above the don't forget to share the live thing. That's the time of the weather models, so just be aware of that. So we do have the weather models loaded. Let's figure out the timing, folks. All right, so this is a look at what kind of happened around 4 o'clock this morning. Again, these are estimates here. And this is a look at around 9 o'clock this morning where this is going to be. Well, that's pretty close to where it is expected to be. And then as you can see, it dies out. Okay. Cape Girardeau area, you do have some more development that is expected in your area. If we look at sometime around 4:30 this afternoon, but nothing real significant from what I can see on here. I do believe your risks in these areas are going to be happening much later. You have some development happen over by Mayfield area again around 10 o'clock, 10 or 11 o'clock at night. Paducah area, uh, Tullahoma area of Tennessee, Knoxville, some storms right there expected around 10 o'clock tonight. Kind of spanning over this, and I'll try and get as many zones as I possibly can. But take a look. You get another round here tomorrow morning. The area that's been getting hit this morning, Fort Smith, Greenwood, Clarksville, more intense storms tomorrow morning, according to this weather model here. Look at that. This is around 8:30 in the morning, so about the same time tomorrow. And then that moves over into areas of like Forest City. Again, this is looking at tomorrow, and then that moves on out. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at that fun that is expected over in areas of Texas and Colorado and see how they have that development happening. You're welcome, Andrea. Plainview, Lubbock area. Look at the timing here. We got around 7 p.m. Let's see if it's going to be a little bit sooner than that. Yeah, I would say sometime after 4 p.m. Central Daylight Time, you have some isolated supercells really building pretty quickly here around 5 o'clock. And then that's a look at around 6 or 7 p.m. Areas of Lubbock. Do want to remind folks, you guys have a pretty enhanced risk. You have this 5% risk for tornado activity. Again, this is going to be after 4 p.m. today, and even areas of Colorado and southwestern Kansas. Look at Colorado around 7 p.m., 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. over by Pueblo area. As that moves along, around 9 p.m., and that's a look at 1:30 in the morning. Yeah, you guys had some crazy. I heard there was a like 1 mile wedge in areas of Texas yesterday, and I seen some brief footage of that from Kenny McKinney, and that was pretty intense. Gucci Gain can check PA. Pennsylvania, I'll take a look. Pennsylvania, you're not expecting anything real huge for today. This is going to be marginal risk over in areas of Pennsylvania. You're in that green zone. So areas like Boston, you have that slight risk of severe weather. But I'll take a look at the radar estimate here. Play that through. It looks like marginally severe continue. Not really able to get anything of its act together, but sometime this afternoon after 1 o'clock. What about Butler? Folks, if you could do me a solid, tell me the state that you're talking about. If you're talking about Charleston, West Virginia, I'll take a look at that. Butler, PA? Okay, I apologize. Back over here, Butler, PA. All right, that's a look at around 9 o'clock this morning estimates. Again, this is just an estimate right now. Expect some more storm development, but again, marginally severe, possible later this afternoon into the late evening hours in Butler. Not expecting anything real huge. Again, as of right now, that probability for tornado risk, you're less than 2% for tornadoes, according to the SPC's convective outlook. Areas of West Virginia. We're going to get to West Virginia, and then we'll get to Hollister, Missouri, Chattanooga. Yeah, Garden City, you guys are in areas of concern today. Garden City for that 5% risk of tornadoes. I'll take a look at Charleston, West Virginia area first here. 1 second. Zoom this back out. I've got too many cities added in here. There we go. Charleston, West Virginia. Charleston, West Virginia area, I do see some concerns here around 4 p.m. Let me pull this back up here, see what your probability for hail, wind. You're in that marginal risk. However, 11:30 a.m. today, SPC could end up extending this slight risk a little bit further. So stay weather aware in Charleston, West Virginia area today, because some of these rogue cells could develop and move further into that area. So just continue to stay weather aware is all I can really advise you. So the light green so when we're looking at the tornado risk, right now I'm looking at a categorical outlook, but the probability for tornadoes, that's right here. This green means 2%. This brown means that it's 5%. All right, so there was some folks that wanted to know about Hollister, Missouri. Not sure if I could get to Hollister. I'm not sure how big of an area that is. Um, but this is timing based on NAM 3K. Again, not expect. I would suspect most of this is going to be moving out of your area, and a lot of times when you have a lot of this cloud cover from these morning time storms that have happened, it makes it a little difficult for it to build back up. However, there's going to be plenty of flow allowed over in areas of Texas and that area. All right, Joplin, Missouri. I know those are some areas of concern as well. Again, this is a look at this morning estimates. We do expect you're unfortunately, in a 2% risk for tornado activity today for Joplin, Missouri, so stay weather aware. But again, based on the radar estimates that I see here, I don't suspect that you're going to have much to worry about. Maybe some impactful winds, 60 to 70 mile an hour wind gusts possibly in Joplin, Missouri area later this afternoon into the evening hours. But as far as the tornado risk, it is 2%, so stay weather aware. But in my opinion, I don't suspect that you guys are going to have much in the way of tornadic activity over there. Columbus, Ohio. Somebody wanted Garden City. I do need to get to that. Garden City. 1 second here. All right, Garden City, let's take a look at you. I don't like this weather model right now. It's not really picking up on it. So I'm going to move over to a shorter range weather model, which is the HRRR. Now, with that HRRR weather model that I'm going to be taking a look at, I can't look that far out. So just be mindful if you guys are getting ready to ask me, okay, what's happening 3, 4 days in advance? I'm not going to be able to look at that right away. Um, so I do want to do a solid for the folks that are under a major threat today, like Garden City, Syracuse, areas of southwestern part of Kansas. All right, let me go ahead and see if we have those all loaded. It looks like we do. All right, so we've got the weather model estimated time. That is right here. That's the estimated time of when this could occur. All right, so it looks like, gosh, this is putting it pretty late in the day too. So this is looking like it's going to be one of those overnight situations, super late. I'm just going to double check some information from weather.gov to verify here. All right, so areas of Garden City, your biggest risk, highest risk is along and west of US 83 between 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. Now let's take a look at 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. here. So weather model is not having a good time picking that up. This looks to be later than that. So it could be that the weather models have shifted. I would definitely stay weather aware if you're in Garden City, and even more so further south. I mean, look at 11 p.m. This is pretty significant risk right there. Moscow, Rolla. That would be extreme southwestern portions of Kansas. And this is a look at 11 p.m. estimate. These are in Central Daylight Time. Yes, Tyler Roth, this is paid software. Yeah, Radar Omega. I switched from Radar Omega because it keeps on crashing, and I have issues with that as well. So yes, WSV3, $242 a year, I believe, which ends up being pretty expensive. Just be aware you need a pretty darn good PC to be able to run this. Otherwise, you're going to run into crash issues as well. A pretty high-end gaming computer would probably be the best for this. Raymore, Missouri, and somebody asked about you have a second round, Natalie. You have a second round for Fort Smith. You're from Sublet. Oh, yeah, you guys are expecting some pretty intense storms later today. All right, somebody wants us to check Florida. Again, the outlines here of the green, that's the tornado risk, and then the brown, that's also tornado risk. The brown is the 5%, the green is the 2%. Areas of Florida, not expecting a whole lot in your area today. Let me go ahead and bring up the categorical outlook for today. You're in the general thunderstorms, so nothing real huge. Obviously, you guys have gotten some rain. Areas of Jacksonville, Tallahassee, even areas of just north of Orlando, right around Daytona Beach, around 5 p.m. Deltona, those areas could have some more intense type of thunderstorms, but nothing real huge expected in your area. How does Ridgeway, Illinois look for now and later on today? Any concerns for tornadoes? Ridgeway, I'll take a look at that. Appreciate it. 1 second. And Raymore, I know somebody asked about Raymore. I'll take a look at Raymore real quick here. All right, these are radar estimates right now. So if you can find your area, if you're St. Louis and southward, I would say you need to stay weather aware. So from Butler, Missouri to St. Louis, Missouri, and areas southward, stay weather aware because there is a slight slash marginal risk for severe weather. The tornado risk in those areas is less than 2%. And I'll bring that up here. uh, Less than 2%, like the St. Louis and Butler area, Richland. But then if you go to Lebanon, Fairgrove, Springfield, Aurora, Mountain Grove, Piedmont, you guys are in a 2% risk for tornado activity for later today as that could redevelop in areas. And then areas of Fort Smith. Let's go back out here. Fort Smith, let's go ahead and take a look at that. Expecting additional development again later today. Later this morning, actually, according to HRRR. And then again tomorrow, likely to have late night storms in areas of Fort Smith. You're very welcome. Let's go ahead and take a look at live radar. I haven't had that on for a little bit, so I want to check on some of these things here. Make sure we don't have anything crazy going on. Kansas City area, you guys are outside of any real huge risk today. You actually are less than 2% of a risk for tornado activity for today. So that's great. You're in general thunderstorms for Kansas City area today. Annabelle, thanks for the follow. Warsaw, Missouri. I don't know exactly where that area is, unfortunately. So if you're north of St. Louis, general thunderstorms. If you're south of St. Louis, you're going to have that marginal risk for severe weather. And then areas of Farmington, Missouri, you would be in an area of a slight risk. Also, a 2% risk for um, tornado activity. Eastern New Mexico. The areas of Kansas that are concerns would be southwestern portion of, so basically from Emporia southward and westward. As you can see, Syracuse, Kansas area is in a enhanced risk or a 3 out of 5 for today. Sublette, Hugoton, Elkhart, Liberal, those areas are under the enhanced risk. South of Springfield, the thunder feels like an earthquake. Yeah, it's been pretty intense this morning without a doubt. Let's go ahead and take a look at eastern New Mexico real quick. For the risk, again, that area does have quite a big concern for the risk of tornadoes as well. So let's take a look at that. That 5% risk for Clovis, Portales, Plainview, Littlefield, Texas, Lubbock, Brownfield. Again, all those areas are expecting high impacts for severe weather today. North Carolina, you guys are not expected anything significant in North Carolina today. Once we get to late tonight into tomorrow, that's when the storms for North Carolina would, a lot of this is going to shift eastward. So you would have that slight risk after 7 p.m. in areas of North Carolina. And that probability of tornado risk for tomorrow impacts areas of Tennessee, but as of right now, it's less than a 2% for areas of North Carolina. All right, so let's take a quick gander at some radar estimates again. Let's bring this back up here 1 second. This is a look at radar estimates here. 1 second. Near Wheaton, Missouri. 1 second, and I'll pull that here. Right now, we do have 3 severe thunderstorm warnings. Let's pull those up and see where those are. So the Fort Smith area, just to east of Fort Smith, we do have severe thunderstorm warning right now over by Clarksville. Again, that was a pretty intense storm. Clarksville around 9:16. You have a severe thunderstorm warning that'll be impacting your area. Some hail as well as some gusty winds for sure. 60 plus mile an hour winds. And then let's take a look at the local reports where those were. So there was the reports, there was a tornado over by Vion. That would be in the areas of Oklahoma. And then that Fort Smith area this morning already at 7:46 had a significant damage to a home, likely tornado damage. So that would be right in that Fort Smith area. Lots of wind damage already this morning. A number of storm chasers that were out, none that I was aware of. And then areas of Missouri, all I have is a report of power poles across the roadway that was over by Wheaton. I my guess, if I were to guess, these areas they're going to likely have a National Weather Service engineer come out to verify if it was a tornado or if it was just straight line winds. Because if you got power poles across a roadway, it takes quite a bit of wind. So, my opinion, wait until the local authorities and the National Weather Service engineers come out and verify. But yeah, this morning was pretty significant for Wheaton, Missouri. Hearts go out to those folks that have damage. Appreciate the question, Witchy Woman. And Alabama area. Gotta bring this back up here. All right, Alabama. If you're in Alabama area, your risk in the northern half of Alabama, let's go ahead and take a look at that Huntsville area. Radar estimates show this to be 11 o'clock tonight. Alabama will be under the gun. And then that's going to be into the overnight hours. So, Alabama, get ready for a long night or make sure that you have a weather radio available to alert you because I would suspect some of these storms will be intense enough to spark up some tornadoes. Even though right now it doesn't show that there's a risk for that for today, believe to, yeah, day 2. So, tomorrow, basically tonight after 7 into tomorrow, that risk for tornadoes in northern portion of Alabama is pretty significant. It's 2%. I'm based on what I'm seeing on radar, I would suspect that they'll probably have a hatched area of 5% in here somewhere in northern Alabama. So just stay weather aware. I'm not trying to fear monger anybody. I'm just trying to give you the information based on my radar interpretation expertise. Again, I'm not a meteorologist. I'm a weather enthusiast as well as a storm chaser. So these are radar estimates again. me pull up day 1 again. Thanks for the follows. We got 36 new followers here today. So let's go ahead and make sure we get some more of those follows. I'm going to turn off the radar estimates here, and let's go back to a live radar here real quick. I'm going to shut off the local reports here as well. So that's one thing that's kind of bad with this is it's a little tough to get it all where you want it. Because we do have some severe thunderstorm warnings here. Let's pull this up here. 1 second. All right, so we're taking a look now at the live radar, what's going on. These are pretty intense storms that are going on right here. I want to give you guys a solid here to kind of show you where all this is expected to go here. So we have storm motion here. We've got Smithville, Hatfield, Mena, and Cove. Pretty intense storm here. So got another 7 minutes in that area. Let's take a look here and see. Back to base. So right now, this is the storm motion is moving off to the southeast. Mount Airy, North Carolina, don't expect anything huge today, but be weather aware late tonight, which would be around 10 or 11 o'clock your time in the evening, and then into the overnight. You guys are not expecting anything real huge in North Carolina until late tonight, and then tomorrow things really ramp up in the morning hours. So right now, we don't have any tornado warnings, but we do have four severe thunderstorm warnings. Let's go back to our severe weather coverage scene here.
A new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued.
Since we do have some storms continuing, we'll go through here and show you what's going on. So these are currently the severe thunderstorm watches. We got all the counties and states listed in there. This covers the flood watches, the severe thunderstorm watches, warnings, all of that. No active tornado warnings. And as you can see, severe thunderstorm warnings are on the ticker below. Since we do have active weather, we're going into active weather mode right now. And we are leaving the radar estimates to another broadcast at another time. Let's go ahead and go to our next radar here. 1 second. Do got to shut this off and reset it, so give me a second here. All right, now I got it pulled up on the live radar here. Let's go ahead and take a look at these intense storms here if we can. All right, again, pretty intense storms that are over by areas of Clarksville, that is in Missouri, I believe. Hang on 1 second. No, sorry, Clarksville, that would be Arkansas. and areas of extreme eastern part of Oklahoma. There's 1 inch hail size here. That's two warnings. Where's the other two? Let's go ahead and go back to our view. Looks like Pennsylvania area does have a couple of them over by Altoona area. Let's go ahead and take a look at that radar. Let me take a look at National Weather Service outlook here. Love it. Severe thunderstorm warnings and 60-mile-an-hour winds, 3/4 inch hail up in these areas here. This is a live look at the radar. Moving eastward here. Areas that could be impacted by this. Let's see if I could pull that in a little bit further here. It's not letting me get the storm motion. But Vintondale, Evansburg, pretty intense storms right here. Is St. Louis, Missouri okay? I could take a look at St. Louis, Missouri area here. 1 second. St. Louis, you're in the marginal risk for today. Well, just south of you is in the marginal risk. So just stay weather aware for today. Marginal risk, this is a green zone. And then just to the north of Belleville area and Afton, that's the general thunderstorms. But you still could have some pretty intense storms later this afternoon into the evening hours. And let me give you more detail on that. 1 second here. So timing for the St. Louis area. 1 second here. Looks like the timing is going to be later this afternoon. So between noon and 2 o'clock, that's when you start to ramp up a little bit more of an intensity. And then ending time frame for the St. Louis area between 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. is kind of when we're expecting things to die out a little bit over in that St. Louis area. Eastern PA. Asking if it's going to, well, Great Smoky Mountains, yes. Unfortunately, the Smoky Mountains area of today into tomorrow. So we're looking at right here. Let me take a look at eastern Pennsylvania. You're in that marginal risk. So Philadelphia area, you're in general thunderstorms. Not expecting a whole lot. Things are going to kind of ramp up a little bit this afternoon and then slowly die out for your area in eastern part of Pennsylvania for today. But again, Great Smoky Mountains. Joe Weiser, thank you so much for the flower gift, Rose. I appreciate it. So that Asheville area is in a marginal risk for today, but we're expecting things to ramp up. Let me show you HRRR here of what's expected. Go ahead and put the radar estimates back on here. 1 second.
All right, we're going to show you the weather model estimates again here. This is um, for today. We're just going over today's risk. We'll have our live updates every day at 8 a.m. Typically, they only go a half an hour, but we did have some tornado warnings this morning starting the broadcast off. Um, the slight risks, so this is all expected. It depends on your area. So, Justin, I appreciate your question, but no need to get hostile. The model runs right here. If you're able to see that, it says model 6.6 and then changes to 6.7. Just look at that time, and that's the model estimates, okay? Best that we can do, covering a large area. I'm covering the whole U.S. here, so it's not like I'm able to pinpoint. All right, Rylan Matthews, what time for Huntsville? I'm assuming you're referring to Alabama. Again, Huntsville, Alabama, you're not expecting any of that significant severe weather
A new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued.
until super late. So after 10 p.m. in Huntsville, Alabama, so after 10 p.m. and then into the overnight hours, that's when you can expect some significant impacts, unfortunately, for those areas. Hail, all modes of severe weather are expected in Huntsville, Alabama, late tonight. Faulkner, Mississippi. Oh, Lubbock. So Faulkner, Mississippi. I'm not sure exactly where that area is, but let me do a solid as best as I can here. Are you? I'm northern Mississippi. Okay, so it looks like maybe Oxford area. Let me zoom in as best as I can, see if I can see some of those areas here. So this is the radar estimated time. We're going to go through that here. This is one weather model. So I just want to give you guys kind of a disclaimer. This is one radar model of a number of them. So when I'm going through these, I'm just picking HRRR because it's a short range weather model and has the latest updates. And in my personal opinion, it typically is more reliable. Um, so it looks like Holly Springs, Balloon Mountain, some of those areas expecting super late storms, few isolated um, storms that could have some hail possibility. Again, super late. And the HRRR is having a little bit of a hard time until 1 o'clock in the morning. It looks like Pontotoc. So stay weather aware overnight hours in areas of Mississippi and Alabama, as that National Weather Service categorical outlook right there is for today. Day 2, tomorrow, that shifts even further southward and you stay in that. Now, the risk for tornadoes, again, that shifts southward into Alabama and Mississippi versus today. So this is a look at the tornado outlook for tomorrow. This is the tornado outlook for today. Tornado outlook in the green is the 2%. I know somebody asked about Lubbock. I'll go ahead and show you Lubbock and Batesville, Oklahoma area because you guys got a lot of storms expected later today. This is HRRR weather model. We're looking at one weather model. So Lubbock area expects some storms later this afternoon. Sometime after 3 p.m., things could expect to be pretty explosive in Lubbock area. Morton, I know you guys had a pretty significant storm pass through that area. So you got that 5% risk for tornado outlook. Big time hail, Sudan, Texas, Littlefield, Texas, Loveland, and then even some more storms, pretty intense over by Hobbs in New Mexico area around 5 p.m. That moves on over and look at Lubbock getting pretty smashed and not in a good way. Lubbock, Adelu, Ransom Canyon area. If I was chasing, I would definitely want to be in that area. Leveland Anton. Those are pretty intense storms. Again, this is around 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time, even all the way up into Tulia, Hart, Cress, some of those areas. And then somebody asked about Batesville. Um, Batesville, I don't know exactly where that, or Bartsville, sorry, Bartsville. Let's go ahead and take a look at Bartsville. Looks like your storms in Bartsville are going to be expected to be overnight hours into tomorrow. So let's take a look at day 2 categorical outlook. Yeah, Bartsville, you have that risk today, late today, for a 2% risk of tornadoes, so stay weather aware. You're in the slight risk in Bartsville, Oklahoma area. So just again, stay weather aware. That's a 2 out of 5. Will Liberal, Kansas get anything? Liberal, Kansas, I'm not sure exactly where that area is. If you're over by the Garden City area, that's going to be a pretty impactful area. Um, if you can kind of tell me, Ortez, where Liberal, Kansas is in a major city area, like where is it close to? And Tessa, Nashville, not expecting anything to impact Nashville area until super late. Here's a look. Nashville area, 6, 7 p.m. So stay weather aware. You are in that 2 out of 5 risk. Yeah, yep, yes, correct. Tufts weather. They're basically in the same risk as they were yesterday. So Lubbock area. And Portales, New Mexico. Showing you that right here. You're in that enhanced risk in Portales, New Mexico. It's having a little bit of a struggle showing up anything intense, but there could be some rogue cells that get going. So I would just stay weather aware in Portales, New Mexico. Clarksville, Tennessee, please. Again, these are radar estimates we're going to show you here. Clarksville, Tennessee. This is one weather model. Clarksville, Tennessee. It looks like some intense storms show up in your neck of the woods. Sometime after 3, and then gets most intense estimated around 4 p.m. So stay weather aware. Again, your area of risk is a 2 out of 5 for uh, categorical outlook. But as far as tornado risk, you're in that 2% zone. Even areas of Union City, McKenzie, Kenton, parts of Tennessee, pretty intense there. I know somebody asked about Knoxville. Let me go ahead and show you Knoxville here. Bring that into the zone here. Again, Knoxville, not expecting that until sometime after 6 p.m. HRRR, this weather model and this graphic shows it pretty intense. Right around Clinton and Oak Ridge, around 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time. You're in Meridian, Kansas. All right, I'll take a look at Meridian, Kansas here in a moment. Again, Knoxville, late evening storms expected, and then tomorrow's risk is day 2. Tomorrow's risk, you're still in that 2 out of 5 for slight risk. So stay weather aware, especially the next couple of days if you're in areas of Tennessee and East Coastline. All right, let's go back to day 1 outlook. Let's take a look at Meridian. Kansas area. Beersford, South Dakota. Hey, you guys are expected some general thunderstorms today. Not expecting a whole lot. Appreciate my South Dakota friends. Since I'm right there, I'll take a look at that. Not anything real significant expected in South Dakota today. Not able to go over a whole lot of risks because areas, northern part of South Dakota, marginal risk for tomorrow, day 3. Not really expecting a whole lot for South Dakota. Day 4, not really expecting a whole lot either. So we're going to have to wait until just a heads up, probably around the 14th to the 20th is when South Dakota can expect some pretty significant weather. That's my estimate. All right. I was looking at areas of Kansas. So 1 second here. Boy, they got all kinds of them coming through now. All right, so let's go ahead and again, these are radar estimates that we're looking at here. I appreciate the follows. I've definitely gained quite a few followers since I started my live, so I appreciate that very much. So Sherryberry, Alabama area is expecting significant storms late tonight into the overnights. So you could have all modes of severe weather. That would be tornadoes, hail. Congratulations, Tufts Weather. So misty, northern Alabama, again, that's going to be late tonight. Huntington, West Virginia. And go over to that area here. Again, this is for today's risk. I do these lives every day at around 8 a.m. Central Daylight Time. So if you're not following me and if you're concerned about tomorrow's risks or the future, go ahead and give me a follow. Hey, thanks, the Weather Warrior. I got Weather Warrior on YouTube. Love the stream. Awesome. Appreciate that. So you guys, I am on Facebook as well as YouTube. So just be aware. It's not just TikTok. All right, Central Ohio, I'll take a look at that for you. Columbus area, you're in that marginal risk. I'd say it's going to stay farther south than Columbus, Ohio area. And then I know there was some folks that asked about Kentucky. So I'm trying to do you guys a solid here. All right, so Kentucky and Tennessee, this is your timing estimates here. Mayfield area around 2 p.m., pretty intense storms. These are in Central Daylight Time, so just add an hour. Clarksville, this showing pretty intense storms just to the west of Clarksville, Tennessee, around 3 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Greenville, Kentucky, pretty intense storms around 4 p.m. I'll get to Columbia, Missouri here next. Stick around, I appreciate it. So Radcliffe area, Kentucky area, and Lexington, pretty intense storms there as well. We're looking at around 7 p.m. It's just like they keep cycling over the same areas. So a flood risk is possible in Kentucky areas. These may be some slow movers. So just stay weather aware. And then down into areas of extreme eastern portion of Tennessee, that Knoxville area, we're looking at around 1 o'clock in the morning. And then areas of Mississippi and Alabama, again, that's 1 o'clock in the morning estimates here. Pretty intense storms down there. Hey, Weather Aware, yo, you love my stream. I appreciate it. Weather Warrior, I appreciate that so much. It gets kind of busy on TikTok, so most of my chats ends up being pretty significant with all like I have in just this live, I got almost 4,000 likes, 48 new followers, and over 5,100 views. So it gets much more intense with TikTok because I've gained a lot of momentum on TikTok. I can't figure out the algorithm for YouTube for some reason. All right, Columbus, Missouri. And let's take a look. One second, I got to find out where Columbus, Missouri is. Oh, Columbia, maybe. Hey, Victoria Lynn, thank you for the heart me's. I appreciate it so much. And thanks for sharing the live. Go ahead and share that live, folks, so other people can know about the severe weather. Theater Kitty, yay, I'm back, but Mom said Fort Smith is fine. Okay. Sorry, some of the areas that I'm looking at, I do need to make sure that I'm showing you right now. This is going to show you a Missouri area. It's a little hard to see the outlines, I'm sure, for the states. So Columbia, Missouri, expect general thunderstorms. I don't see anything that suggests anything real intense in Columbia, Missouri. So again, if you're down by Lebanon, Missouri, Sheldon, Bolivar, Conway, Mountain Grove, that would be more of a significant impact in your areas. But again, the probability for tornado risk is fairly early on. Most of those storms we're expecting that to eventually die out. Could have a few storms tomorrow again. Let's take a look at day 2. Take a look at that. So this ramps up again tomorrow. This is the tornado outlook for tomorrow that we're looking at. This is the 2% risk for tomorrow. Look at all the states that are impacted by that. And then for day 3, the tornado outlook, or the probabilistic, I don't have a tornado outlook, but look at all these areas that are expecting severe weather. Again, Amarillo, Lubbock area, pretty intense probabilistic area over the next, today, tomorrow, and even into Sunday. Pretty impactful stuff there. Categorical outlook, already an enhanced risk for areas of Amarillo and Lubbock for day 3. That is into Sunday. I do cover many different areas. So I cover all of the U.S. I try to get to as many areas as I possibly can. So Des Moines area, I know what you're talking about. The Quad Cities, Des Moines area. So we're not expecting anything real huge for day 3, day 2. Not expecting a whole lot. So I'm just going to tell you, Victoria Lynn, what I'm expecting for Midwest Quad Cities area. So the 14th through the 20th of June. Stay very weather aware sometime in between the 14th and the 20th of June. Excuse me, of June, because there's a possibility of some pretty impactful, significant weather for there. I can't show you that far out because I don't trust GFS right now, but that's my hunch is there's going to be some pretty impactful weather patterns for that. Again, this is day 1. Today's outlook. Let's go ahead and take a look at those radar estimates again. You can see where the most intense storms are. Again, Oklahoma City area. Minnesota, we're not expecting anything huge today. Areas of Minnesota, as you can see, the categorical outlook, you're not even in anything, no risks for today. Tomorrow, you have general thunderstorms. If you're in extreme northwestern portion of Minnesota, up by the Grand Forks area, you have that marginal risk for tomorrow. And then the probability of tornado is pretty much nothing for there. And then day 3, You have general thunderstorms expected in areas of Minnesota, much of areas of Minnesota for day 3, which would end up being your Sunday. Day 4, the probabilistic, nothing for that. 5, 6, and there's probably not going to be anything, honestly. They're not going to bring this out that far, too much of a risk. So back to day 1. So Minnesota, you're fine. Is there any disturbance in the Gulf?
A new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued.
All right, we have a new severe thunderstorm warning. This is for areas of Pennsylvania, Northwest or National Weather Service State College office. Penny-size hail, so nothing real huge in my opinion, but it's still, it is got the 60-mile-an-hour wind threat, so therefore it's at the low end of the severe thunderstorm warning. Can you show Texas? I can certainly show Texas. Top cards, I'll show you Texas right now. These are the risks. And as far as the Gulf, I'm not going to show the Gulf. Um, the reason is there's a lot of people hyping up uh, the whole risk for hurricanes, and I'm staying out of that for right now. If you stick around, I'll kind of give you an idea from the National Hurricane Center. If you stick around, um, kind of show you that because right now Eastern Pacific is the only thing that has uh, any risks. There's nothing expected in the tropical cyclone activity for the next 7 days, according to the National Hurricane Center. So, all right, let's go ahead and take a look. Yes, Lubbock got hit bad yesterday, for sure they did. So this is a look at Texas. Again, your risks for Lubbock. Let's go through the radar estimates. Lubbock area around 4, sometime after 3 o'clock is what I'm saying. Powell, Tennessee, we'll get to you in a moment here. We're focusing on Texas right now. These are radar estimates, so lots of risks that you got going on in areas of Texas today. Texas has that 5% risk all the way up into areas of Colorado, southwestern portions of Kansas. So over by Garden City, Ulysses, Liberal, even areas of the panhandle of Oklahoma, Boise City, Guyman, Beaver, Oklahoma areas. Again, these are expected to be later this afternoon, sometime after 3 p.m. And the farthest out that I could go with this HRRR weather model is 1 o'clock in the morning. So as you can see, some of these areas that have the white and the darker shades like black, and that's indicating a lot of hail as well as possibility of some tornadic activity over in those areas. So just be weather aware today. Dallas, Texas. As of right now, Dallas, Texas, your area is outside of that risk, at least for day 1. You get to the 2% risk for Dallas, Texas into the overnight hours. And unfortunately, I don't have the ability to go out that far. I can only go to 1 a.m. So between 1 a.m. and 8 a.m. On June 7th, Dallas, Texas, just stay weather aware. Your storms could possibly be pretty impactful as you get into the overnight hours, as you have that slight risk for tomorrow. And then for today, you're in that general thunderstorms for Dallas as well as marginal risk. You had 2 tornadoes in Lubbock, Texas yesterday. One was EF2, another was EF4. I'm going to say, okay, I don't have any reports confirming that from the officials, but I appreciate you giving me that. Hey, Mrs. Giggle Queen. Any idea why we are seeing so many storms across the U.S. this year? It's the weather pattern that we have an end zone neutral, and sometimes when you get that neutral, all bets are off and crazy stuff can happen. So that's my thought. When we have that end zone neutral zone instead of a La Nina or a El Nino, it gets into that neutral zone. It's very hard to predict sometimes things going crazy. They do the best that they possibly can, and I appreciate everybody at the National Weather Service. But sometimes we're even seeing sometimes where these slight risks and marginal risks um, are should be expanded in some areas. So sometimes I've even seen some tornadoes happen in areas that are expecting general thunderstorms. So it's really a tough job, and I applaud my folks and friends at the National Weather Service uh, for doing such a diligent job. They have a tough job. Nobody gives them the credit. You know, it's easy to bash people um, for not getting something right, but we shouldn't bash them. They have a very difficult job. Will St. Louis, Missouri be okay? All right, let's take a look at St. Louis area. I did look at that a little bit earlier, but I'll go through there again here. Um, General thunderstorms, but we could have some more intense storms happen in the overnight hours. Let me go ahead and show you why. So this is a look at 3:15. There we go through. All right, let me go a look at day 2. So as you can see, day 2 tomorrow, you get into the general or the marginal risk. So I do believe tomorrow you'll have possibility of some more intense storms in St. Louis than today. Stay weather aware overnight. Things could shift from the 7 o'clock this morning update to the 11:30 a.m. update. So we'll do our best to get the categorical outlooks out to TikTok as well as some of the other areas. Zozo, Powell, Tennessee. I'm getting over to Powell, Tennessee. I know you asked that a couple of times, and I apologize. Powell, Tennessee. What area is that? Is it near Nashville? Oh no, you're okay, Zozo. It's fine. I didn't mean it like that. I just don't know where Powell, Tennessee is my problem. I'm not from that area. Oh, Clinton and Knoxville area. Okay, gotcha. Let me see if I can zoom in far enough. There it is. I see it just north of Powell or north of Knoxville. All right. Does look pretty intense storms over in that area around 7 p.m. So stay weather aware. You're in that categorical outlook of a slight risk right now for today, and then you have less than 2% risk of tornadoes. But I will say the probability for the hail is pretty likely. It only has you in the brown zone, which is a 5% risk, but that could end up changing. And then the wind threat, that's more intense in that area. So just be mindful if you're in the Powell area, Clinton, Knoxville area, around 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time, so 8 p.m. your area. Stay weather aware. And again, your area is also under the gun for tomorrow for the probability of severe wind. Look at that. Is it coming to Louisville, Kentucky? Yeah, Kentucky, you guys are under the gun as well. So let's take a look at today's risk for areas of Kentucky. You're under the risk for slight risk, 2 out of 5 right now. And then your probability for tornadoes, Louisville, you're just on the northern edge of that 2% risk. So just stay weather aware. The 2% risk is close enough to you that you could end up with some brief spin ups in those areas. Probability for Louisville, Kentucky area for hail, a lower risk, but still there. Wind threat, again, is pretty significant for the Louisville, Kentucky area. What about Maysville, Kentucky? Maysville, where you at? All right, I'm going to get Maysville one of these days. Maysville, Kentucky. I don't know where exactly Maysville area is in relation to some of these cities that we have here. So if you could do me a solid and tell me kind of where the Maysville, east of Louisville on the river. Okay, thank you so much. Sorry. All right, so kind of it looks like it must be a very, very small town, so I'm having a little bit of a difficult time finding it. So that would probably be, so if you could kind of see some of the general areas, hopefully that'll help you. All right, so these are the timing here around that Louisville area. All right, so this area here is expecting some pretty, down by Bloomfield, Bedford area. I don't see a whole lot really moving that far up, but again, we could all be wrong, obviously. Um, we have to go on just a small window of this, frame of time where we're looking at one weather model. So there's a number of different weather models that we could look at, and we don't have time today to be able to look at every single one and try to get to everybody's questions. So just trying to get as much as we possibly can. Looks like around 11 p.m. north of Louisville area, Kentucky, you could end up having some more intense storms for there. So just be aware. Again, the wind threat is probably going to be the biggest threat if you're north of Louisville, Kentucky area. All right, let's go ahead. How is it looking for North Carolina? North Carolina, you guys are going to be overnight hours and into tomorrow. Your risks for tomorrow. Got to zoom back out here. All right, so all of this is going to eventually move off to the east. So eventually, areas of North Carolina, we're looking at day one categorical outlook. Let's look at day two now. As you can see, Raleigh in that area. Expect some storms. I'll have a live update tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. So we'll do a solid and just stay weather aware in the overnight hours if you're in areas of North Carolina. Um, make sure you have that weather radio available. Northeast Georgia got storms coming? Yes. Um, so we're looking at day one right now. So these storms, we're looking at the timing of this is like 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning right here for north central part of Georgia. But again, I can't go out real far with this. I could switch over to the NAM to see if I could go out a little bit further here. The St. Louis area, my thoughts on St. Louis area is stay weather aware in the overnight hours. I have a feeling that, I mean, right now the categorical outlook shows general thunderstorms in the general St. Louis, Missouri area. But my thoughts is that in the overnight hours, there could be some more development, so stay weather aware. I really don't think that the risk for tornadoes is there. Um, but for tomorrow, so into the overnight hours, that St. Louis area does have a 2% risk for tornado activity, but it is likely going to be some pretty impactful winds, hail, and some torrential rains at times. You're welcome, Amy. So Georgia area expecting some pretty impactful uh, weather again, going to be overnight hours tonight and into tomorrow. So that's why you need to be just staying weather aware for at least the next couple of days. Clearfield, PA. But what's happening in Hugo, Oklahoma? It's in south. Okay, I could take a look at that. Right now, we do have only one severe thunderstorm warning. I could take a look at the live weather here, but I'll take a look at Clearfield, PA first. All right, so let me zoom back out here. Clearfield, PA. I'm not from that area, so folks, find your general vicinity. Where are you for State College and some of those areas in Altoona, and then kind of look at this categorical estimate here. Again, your radar estimates for today is what I'm looking at. Right now, we just have the one severe thunderstorm warning, and that is up in Altoona area. These are some areas that could be impacted by that. Hollidaysburg and Altoona around 9:45. So, all right. So we're not really expecting a whole lot to continue in areas of Pennsylvania. Basically, morning time risks in Pennsylvania. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at Hugo area. I'm going to shut off the convective outlook real quick here. These are, again, radar estimates. And I got to shut off the areas here. Let me shut this off real quick. 1 second. Looks like I'm going to need to leave that there. All right, so I want to do a solid here for my friends here. Lady in the Woods, getting pretty gnarly out there. All right, well, let's take a look at the live radar then. If you're saying it's gnarly, let's find out. I'll clear out the radar estimates, and we'll go to live radar. Some reason it is having a hard time picking up the radar here, so 1 moment. You have no radar? Goodness gracious. All right, I got to go to basic. 1 second here. All right, this is a live look at radar. And I don't see anything that's really looking that. I mean, it might look pretty gnarly to you, but I don't see anything that's supporting that we need to have any additional warnings here. Let me look at the satellite imagery. We're looking at a satellite imagery right now. Right now, we just have one severe thunderstorm warning, and that is up in Pennsylvania area. And I don't see anything that supports. It looks like this is likely going to develop later. So you're welcome, Lady in the Woods. All right. All right, folks. I've been on here live for about an hour and a half, hour 40 minutes. So I'm going to let you all go. I may break in later today with some more severe thunderstorm warnings as they break out. And we'll do continued live coverage again. Uh, if time does allow, I will go live again. So, be 1 second here. I have one other weather update here that I have to give you. 1 second. All right, as of 9:06 a.m., these storms hit over by the in southeast Oklahoma, western and central Arkansas. Well-organized MCS to eventually weaken, but will still have areas of concern for more flash flooding going through the midday hours. So just be weather aware for flash flooding, as these are slow movers. All right, that is the last information that I have. We don't have any active tornado warnings. You're welcome. All right. I've been in your live a while and skipped me the whole time. For Georgia? I hit Georgia. If you've been live in my live the whole entire time, you would have been a top viewer. But I will take a look at LaGrange. I'm sorry, man. I did not see you every single time. I see Victoria Lynn has been on here the whole time. And usually top viewers that stay on the whole entire time are at a #1. But I don't see you. But anyhow, that's neither here nor there. I'm getting to you now. So let's go ahead and take a look at the radar estimates here. I'll get to that, and then I got to let you go, but I apologize. Again, I'm only one dude, so. All right, so we're going to wait for this to load. LaGrange and Peachtree area. I don't see anything that suggests anything today. However, let me go, since I missed you there, I'll do my best to give you a radar estimate on, we'll go 84 hours out. Again, this is a radar estimate, so I'm going to put that back up on here. So just so you're aware, I've had over 6,300 viewers, over 5,200 likes, 60 new followers on just this live. So let me see if this is loaded here. 1 second. Where is that at? Reflective. It's taken a little bit of time to get what you're asking for, so I apologize. All right, I gotta mosey this back here. 1 second. I gotta shut off the. There we go. For some reason or another, it's having a real struggle pulling the information right now, and I don't know why. Oh, it's on reflective type. Why does it do that every time? All right, I'm going to close this out, and I'm going to try and get to yours as best as I possibly can. You've stuck around. You're okay. It's not that I'm not upset with you. I just feel bad that I missed you. I mean, you want to stay weather aware just as much as the rest of the folks, and I totally get it. I wouldn't be doing a solid at all if I didn't do that. So, oh, it's because it's not updated. I got to switch the other one. Hang on one second here. It's my work now. Maybe it'll work. Gosh, this is just having a real struggle picking up any of that stuff that I need to have in here. Maybe HRRR is going to give me something. I don't know. NAM must be going through an update, so I'm having a really difficult time getting to answer the questions that you want. But all I'm going to be able to give you at this point is your categorical outlooks. So for tomorrow, LaGrange area of Georgia is definitely in some significant risks. Your probability for wind is a higher risk, severe wind. Your hail risk right now for areas of LaGrange, Georgia, isn't that bad. It's less than 2%, but I do suspect that the Storm Prediction Center is likely going to move that risk further southward and eastward. So I'm sorry that I couldn't give you a solid. So Jolito Tech, I thank you so much as well. You stay safe as well. I appreciate you staying on for such a long time. And again, I apologize sincerely for not getting to you right away. All right. Ashley, thanks so much for the follow. Batesville, Arkansas. And then I got to go. Do we need to worry about tornadoes in Knoxville, Tennessee? Overnight hours, yes. Um, Overnight hours into tomorrow, yes. You would need to worry about that for sure. So let's go ahead and take a look at what do we got here? Batesville, Arkansas. Is Batesville up in northern portion of Arkansas, or what do we got? Piper. Aiden Ward 671. If you can, a little bit, yeah, basically. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of the best that I can do. I'm just gonna right now. I'm looking at Arkansas, northern Arkansas. I'm really focused on uh, the northern portion because your risk for today that I'm looking at. You're in a slight risk if you're from Birmingham, Alabama, northward um, and east, and basically that whole line. In that yellow zone is the slight risk or a 2 out of 5. And so the timing of that shows around 4 p.m. Central Daylight Time for some storms. Really, actually, after 3, based on this radar estimate. And those storms could end up having some of them to the northern portion, likely going to have that hail risk. Yeah, there's that hail risk for today, and the wind risk. So the wind risk is the most. The wind risk is a greater risk. There's less than 2% risk for tornadoes. That doesn't mean there's going to be a tornado. That doesn't mean there's not going to be a tornado. It just means that the risk is lower for that area. However, if you get into day 2, that expands further southward into covering much of Alabama for that wind risk, and then that tornado risk moves in. So that's why I think a lot of the significant weather in Alabama area is going to be more around 2 o'clock in the morning time frame, and where you could end up seeing. Um, yes, this is for Alabama that I'm looking at right now. This is tomorrow's risk for tornadoes for Alabama. Um, the green zone is a 2% risk. So I would say after midnight, that's when your tornado risk for Alabama area grows. All right, so we're going back to what's going on. So many warnings. Yeah, it's been a very, very busy morning. But look, we have the best news right now. No active tornado warnings, no tornado warnings. We do have flood watches and we do have severe thunderstorm watches still in effect. But let me go ahead and pull up the severe thunderstorm watches right now here. You guys can see how much I'm still learning with this new radar here. As I click through all these different options. All right, so this area right here is a huge concern. Mena, which would be areas of Arkansas, and then southeastern portion of Oklahoma. Lots of heavy rainfall continued to be expected for that area, all the way over to Little Rock. So the flooding is quite high. Flooding potential is quite high for that area. Lots of rain in Little Rock expected today. As far as the severe weather goes, they do have that 2% risk for areas of Little Rock, Arkansas. And we do see around 1 p.m. some storm cells that could possibly be um, holding some hail as well as some wind threat over east of Little Rock, Arkansas after 1 p.m. Then that tries to ramp up again. Van Buren, Arkansas. Yeah, I was live on that one. Yep, Amber, I was live on that one. Sorry, delayed messages. Do you think it will get really bad for Little Rock? That's a overloaded word. So will it get really bad? I would say stay weather aware in Little Rock, Arkansas, because you are in that 2% risk. And I've seen some crazy stuff. So just stay weather aware. Oh, I will bless you with information. Colorado Springs. Absolutely. All right. So let's go over to Colorado Springs area. All right. Timing on Colorado Springs. Then I got to go, folks. I have not had breakfast this morning yet, and I'm starting to feel it. Let's take a look here. Colorado Springs, sometime after 4 p.m., you start to see that risk increase for some cells to have potential for tornadic activity. And then it even into the late night could have a few. We're looking at your probability for tornadoes. Though the 5% risk is right just to the east of Colorado Springs. You're in a 2% risk officially, but there could be some early development there. So just stay weather aware. You're welcome. Appreciate you. Hope you're following, man. All right. So we do not have any active severe thunderstorm warnings and we do not have any active tornado warnings. So I am going to let you all go. God bless everyone on my live. We gained 66 new followers. And the reason why I love gaining followers, I could care less, honestly. I mean, I love the money, that's great. But it's really about keeping people weather aware and weather informed. So the more I have for followers, the better that it is because and especially when you guys are sharing the live, I love that exponentially because especially when we have that active severe weather threat, imagine you're doing your community a great service and your friends and your family a great service by sharing the live, following and asking others to follow, because then you're letting them know that you care enough to give them the very best weather information they can. I mean, I am no weather expert, but I certainly have done enough storm chasing, done enough radar interpretation to be able to give you a solid estimate as best as possible with the tools that I have, as well as the National Weather Service outlooks and all of that. I do the best that I possibly can, and I appreciate you guys so much for following. All right, Virginia, is Virginia Winchester okay? Virginia Winchester. Are you talking? I'll take a look at Kansas here in a second, but I got to figure out Marley. Are you talking about Winchester, Virginia? Sorry, I got that backwards. Maybe I don't know. Okay, Winchester, Virginia. Let's take a look real quick where you're at here. All right, so you guys, one second, folks. Um, Here we go. Your guys' risk for today in areas of Virginia is a marginal risk. So areas just west of Richmond, Virginia area, so the Roanoke area, you guys aren't expecting anything until the overnight hours. Unfortunately, my weather model does not go out that far. I don't want to switch over to another one because I've been having some issues this morning with the other weather models for some reason. But I can give you the categorical outlook here. So if you're in the south of Richmond area for tomorrow, you have like the Colonial Heights area, you are in that slight risk. Georgia, you have some risks. You do have some slight risks for the Georgia area for tomorrow. Again, that's going to be into the overnight hours and the early morning hours for tomorrow for Georgia. So that would also include some risks for tornado activity for tomorrow as well in the extreme northern portion of Georgia, as you have that tornado risk as a 2 for tomorrow. Probability for hail for tomorrow, that again encompasses not just today for areas of Texas and Oklahoma, but including tomorrow. Look at that, as well as areas of Mississippi. Right now, I'm just going over general areas. I'm not going to go into any specific areas because I'm about to ready to finish my live here. The wind risks for tomorrow. This is going to be a huge area of risk for wind. Straight line winds, if you're not in risk for tornadoes, you're expected to be in a risk for straight line winds in many of these areas that are shaded in the yellow. So just stay mindful, stay weather aware. I will again have a live later today, likely. Um, but I'm about to end the live right now because I need to go eat some food before the severe weather really starts ramping up later today in areas of Texas, southwestern Kansas, as well as eastern parts of Colorado. So stay weather aware today. And again, thanks so much for all of the follows and the sharing of the lives. Tufts Weather, I appreciate you on here as well. Do a solid and